minutes, the first 10 to 15 minutes of the third episode of Clatfartburg. This is the last one we will be posting on this feed. So it's going to be quiet on here from now on. Aww. Hopefully. Well, it's good. It's a good thing.
In a good way, we hope.
In a good way.
May it be many years before we come back.
May it be a long time before we come back. But yeah, to keep up with everything we're doing, just go over and follow Clatfartburg on your podcast platform. Share it with your friends. Rate and review it. All that stuff helps us. But without further ado, here's the first 10 minutes of the next episode. And we'll see you on the Clatfartburg feed.
Toodle-hoo.
Toodle-hoo. My name is Genevieve Bargello.
And I'm Eileen West.
And this is CFB News. For the first segment this morning, we wanted to spotlight one of the best attractions in Clatfartburg, the Public Museum of Clatfartburg.
The Public Museum features 3 different departments. There's science, history, and art, all of which are easily seen with free access at $30 for parking. It's very accessible, and the public can enjoy many different artifacts, such as the following.
Visitors delight in experiencing the blonde otters and their taxidermied previous generations.
Feel free to dress up just like the otters, or even eat with one of the taxidermy otters. It'll have a great old time. And don't forget to hit up the history section where you can see the fountain from The Stick.
You can also there see one of the old outfits from the Cow Army.
As we all recall, the Beef Wars were such a crazy time. And don't ever forget the mysterious statue of Bartholomew, Arkansas, alias Bartholomew Alexander, one of the great mystery outlaws of Clatfartburg.
Hold on. Eileen, could you pause for a moment? I'm getting a message in my inner ear that I have.
Yes.
Apparently, we have breaking news. There was recently a heist planned on the Bartholomew Alexander / Arkansas bust.
Really? Unheard of. We never have breaking news here.
Yeah, an unidentified figure in a bee costume attempted to steal, this is what I'm hearing right now, attempted to steal the bust. They were unsuccessful, but they did leave 100 matches on the floor and stole all the light switches and left a sausage on the way out.
As we all know, sausages here in Clatfartburg mean dastardly things and have a negative connotation.
Yes.
This does not bode well for the Clatfartburg Public Museum as well as possibly the city at large. We recommend everyone keep an eye out and to dial into your local news stations to us so we can continue to break this news and nobody else.
But if you are planning a visit, you can also go to the postal experience and really experience what it was like to deliver mail back in the early 20th century. Weather effects and all. It does cost an additional fee, but it is worth it.
And don't worry, internships for the summer are opening up for all departments. Please be sure to know that you will be boarding within the museum and probably will not be able to go outside and interact with others. This is a great experience if you have no experience, and you will be paid in memories and knowledge. You can reach out to the directors via their podcast, focusing on the big thing.
You were a graduate of it, weren't you, Eileen? Weren't you?
Indeed, I was. I did kick it out, though, because I tried to take a nap within the otter aquarium, and I did fall into the water. I've
heard many have gone that way.
Yes. The good news, though, is the Blanche otters do know how to do lifeguard duties, so I was gently carried back as my unconscious body was flopped back onto the steps. But, anything to do to get a good story, even back then for the yearbook, I was ready to go for it, so everything's delightful. Thank you.
Well, with that all being said, we will see you guys back in about 2 weeks with the most infrequent news broadcast on the planet. We'll see you then.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for watching CFB News.
Hello, everyone. We're here.
You're now entering Clatfartburg. Welcome.
You are. We're a comedy world-building podcast. Did we say that the last time? I feel like we might not have. But does it really matter? Does it really?
It probably, actually.
It probably does. We are still on episode 3. I think we can't presume at this point.
We can't just assume people. We're like, oh, fuck it. If you're here, you're here. And if you're not, it probably won't happen. We are hard to find on the map, but don't worry. This world-building comedy podcast is continuing to expand all the aspects of the fictional town of Clatfartburg, such as the Public Museum.
I'm Felicia.
And I'm Elaine.
Yeah, last week we talked about the Public Museum of Clatfartburg, and we actually talked more about the Public Museum of Clatfartburg because we had such a fun time talking about it. So that's on our Buy Me a Coffee now. So if you want to see all about the heist that we developed on the bust of Bartholomew, Arkansas, Bartholomew Alexander, which Elaine brought up to me that I had changed his name by accident throughout our conversations. I fully, in my heart of hearts, thought I was consistent, but apparently I just started calling him Bartholomew Alexander at some point. So I guess that's his legal name, and Bartholomew Alexander is his thief name.
Did you just say Bartholomew Alexander is his given name and his thief name is Bartholomew Alexander?
Fuck, man. Fuck. Arkansas is his thief name. No, Bartholomew Alexander is also his thief name. Bartholomew Arkansas is his prison name? I don't know.
Sure. Anyway, we go more into the lore and we talk a lot about the founders as well and all the interns you heard about.
The podcasts of the museum.
A podcast within a podcast within a podcast, actually. So it's a whole like hour-long extra bonus episode at clatfartburg.com.
And yeah, you can get it by being a member, or we also just have it for sale as like an extras thing. So if you just want to get that and dip, fair enough. It's there for you. And all of our old bonus content is too. So there you go. There's our mandatory plug. And now we can get into the meat of this episode.
Meat? Meat? What do you do with meat aside from have great epic wars? The beef wars from 1804
I got really
1807.
confused for a second. I don't think that's a diss on your joke. I get confused very easily.
No, I mean, we've had 1,000 things. And if you just popped into episode 3, you're like, the fuck are you talking about? And that's fine. Don't worry about it.
That's
it's probably
fine.
not important.
You'll catch up.
So.
You'll catch up.
Ketchup? Meat and ketchup? What could that possibly have to do with today?
Well, today, we're talking about the episode topic that I pitched as the pilot. Now, I knew it would not be a good pilot of this podcast, but the episode I have thought about the most and been most excited to do is crafting Clatfartburg's ultimate theme restaurant. This idea has enraptured me. I don't like saying the word rapture anymore. Can we cut that out of my vocabulary permanently?
Yes.
Can my brain forget that word exists?
Just bleep.
From the podcast that shall not be named. Mm-hmm. We'll move on.
Yeah.
I think it's because I just really like a theme restaurant. As we know, there's two things I love: elaborate theming and things that look outside but they're inside. And you can get both of those things at theme restaurants pretty frequently. I love a theme park too. That's not really correlated. I just love a theme.
Well, usually if you go to a zoo or a theme park, they tend to have these themed restaurants as well. Like, they continue the lore. And the whole aspect is you go into a different world, essentially.
I do kind of like, in my ideal house is very theme restaurant. Like, it's very like, oh, this is the... Like, I like places where rooms have a name.
Yeah.
Any place where they're like, I've dropped you in the lilac room. I'm like, oh, what the fuck's going on here?
Right. My dream is an escape room that's also a themed restaurant. So, like, to get through the appetizer, you solve one part of the escape room, you sit... And then they're like, okay, get on to the dinner part. It adds an extra layer of, man, I love solving puzzles, but also I'm hungry and I want to get to the other side of that door.
We could consider that. I'm not against it.
Oh, shit. Okay. Putting it on the back burner. Put that on the back burner. Wait, okay.
So the previous episodes we've come in and like very much decided like these are the things we're going to come into the episode with. But we realized with a theme restaurant it doesn't really make sense because like you don't want to come with the dishes before you know a theme.
Exactly. And this is where it's fun for us to like cook it up together, if you will.
Exactly. We have a series of attributes we're going to figure out about this museum, about this theme restaurant in order. And we're going to discuss and figure it out. So first, we need to decide the theming of this place.
Yes.
So one trend, and I don't know if we lean into this or shy away from it. We've had a lot of aquatic-based things recently. And Clatfartburg does seem to have a preoccupation on the aquatic. So it wouldn't surprise me if there was some of that in the theme restaurant, but I also think we may be good to move outside of that.
I'm thinking let's go outside of it because if it's a themed restaurant, you don't go to the Rainforest Cafe when you live in the rainforest.
That's a great point.
You know what I mean? As we all know.
As we all know. And again, Clatfartburg is not coastal. They're lakeside.
They have a lake. They have a lake. That stems from a river.
Different, but they'll never say it.
Yeah. No, but they're really leaning into it. So
no, I agree with you there.
I think we can move away from the aquatic, which I think will provide some depth to Clatfartburg as well. Because even though there's kind of this like fascist level of love to Crispy, I'm sure there are some people who maybe aren't super. The people are like, God, I live in Clatfartburg. You know, like we have a lot of enthusiastic people, but I think this could be a fun opportunity to kind of unveil that aspect of Clatfartburg as well. Because I imagine this theme restaurant is
types.
Exactly. Yes. These outsiders, you know, quote unquote, or those who aren't honoring Clatfartburg tradition. You know, like they refuse to sell the Clatfartburg chowder, for example.
Exactly.
And
their excuse is it doesn't go with the theme, you know?
Exactly. So if we're not going aquatic, that kind of opens it up. Do we want it to be themed on like an experience such as pirates or on biomes? And then kind of going from there with the lore.
I feel more experience. Something like, I mean, yes. I'm thinking experience or time period. You know, I don't want to just remake medieval times though. So
no, that's fair. I do think all of the waitstaff and hosts.
And pirates is also aquatic.
No, it would not be pirates, but just, you know, that pirate versus, you know, cowboys. Don't get me started on some stupid Western shit. But
I like how you said that without me saying anything. You just said that. You just had a moment of silence, and I didn't get you started. You just said cowboys, then stared at a wall and said, "Don't get me started."
It's because in my head I was like, resist.
Oh no, I knew what was going on, but it was still very fun. Yeah, it was fun watching you battle your impulses.
I have this weird thing where I love Western songs, like, and I have a whole playlist. We're in the same
boat here. We cannot redo the Harvey Girls, Elaine.
No,
I banned no more train-based things. We had our fun last episode.
Yes.
No more train-based things.
Yes.
And I honestly think we should also move away from Westerns. I'm trying to challenge us to get out of our comedy wells that we tend to go to. Not to say wells again. Not to say wells again. But
yeah. Okay. So if we're going for an experience, we mentioned possibility of the escape rooms that can be on a side. It could be if it's an experience. Do we want it to be? I don't think it should fully be like dinner theater, but I think the way that some restaurants' menus have like this whole like weird lore. I hate to bring it up, but Universal's Toothsome, for example, that entire restaurant had a lore with their mascots, and their menu was like 52 pages, and there were like short stories throughout the entire fucking thing.
Yeah,
I could see this themed restaurant having a book for a menu because it has all that shit.
If we do that, if we go like an escape roomy route, we could have like a Sherlock Holmes or a knockoff type protagonist for the restaurant.
Ooh, yeah.
There's something about that that's intriguing to me.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, what if your spoons are just little pipes, little smoking pipes?
Yes. This is good. I feel like this is it. I feel like this could be it, because we could go on that for forever. So this is what's interesting about it is, and this is very Clatfartburg. It is a murder mystery dinner restaurant. So people assume it's murder mystery dinner theater. It is not murder mystery dinner theater. It is just themed like it would be.
Yes.
There is no theater happening here. No one will do a performance, but it is murder mystery themed. So a lot of people don't know what's going on. And, you know, there could be a whole speakeasy element with the escape room. I don't know. These are my thoughts.
No, I like this, because then if we have the wait staff and everybody kind of in character, for example, we could have a table, and like they're not correct necessarily, because I love the idea of someone dressed as Agatha Christie just sitting at a table by herself, and they go, Agatha Christie's ghost has been known to haunt these parts. And they're like, that's what the fuck does that even really mean? You know, Agatha Christie's ghost, you know, and like stupid shit like that.
So it's just a murder mystery themed restaurant, which I like this.
Yes. Okay. And no one's allowed to sing except for the cabaret band, the little jazz band they have.
Okay.
Do we imagine jazz?
Yeah.
Maybe they have punk night as well. Occasionally they have punk night.
Do we want to come up with the name, or do we want to let that come to us?
Maybe we'll let that come to us. I did just have the idea the children's menu could be called the ABC Murders.
Oh, that's
Murder
fun.
Mysteries. Whatever that... what's that series? Or the book?
By Sue Grafton. Why do I know the author's name? I worked in the library. Okay.
Wow, killing it. Yeah. Oh, Agatha Christie, the ABC Murders. Oh. That's what I was thinking of. But there is also the A to Z Murders.
Okay, I was thinking of the A to Z Murders. So in my defense,
you're good. Half the menus have the ABC Murders, and then the other one is the ABC Mystery, A through Z Mysteries. Well, I was thinking,
is the menu in code?
Yes. So there's a cipher. That's a cipher,
what I'm thinking. There's a
yeah,
cipher.
So that's why it takes so long to read the menu, because you have to take the cipher in.
The menu is not in cipher.
No.
But everyone does judge you if you order from it.
Now,
It's
it
a
is
sign of defeat.
a word search.
Okay,
So the kids still have to do a word search. And they're like... So it's still taking the kids a hot second to do.